Hey, what's up everybody? Figured I'd do a redo video of the last one and actually show you the broken part. So I'll probably just delete that video. Otherwise, my parts finally came in that I ordered. I just ordered a couple of full lid replacements. So I'm starting out fresh. Once I point out here on what mine did, you're better off just buy the whole freaking thing, man. Just spend the $40 and get the whole damn thing instead of just getting their smaller amount of parts for I think $15. Because I'm a true believer of Murphy's Law. Son of a bitch is never going to die. I'm pretty sure he was born in the Highlands of Scotland. Could be only one. Or maybe he finally decided to breed and there's multiples. Don't know. Other than they follow me everywhere and the way I feel about it on how it broke. If you just replace a few of the parts, all the other parts are going to break. So, better to spend a little bit more money and be safe than sorry. Also, added note, when you get the lid replacement in the full lid assembly, you also get the pins to attach it to your system. So if you end up messing up the ones that you have to where they don't fit good anymore or whatever, you got some replacements. Just be careful putting them together. You're dealing with plastic, so just be careful. They come out easy enough. It just takes a bit of finesse. Otherwise, try with this wonderfully shitful camera that I have to hopefully show you the areas that broke on mine. Which one of them? Really easy to show. And on this, the only thing that I took out was the spring so I could play around with it easier to see what the frickin' hell I want to do on the new ones to reinforce. That's the plan, is to try and figure out a way to reinforce them so they'll last longer. So anyways, see that line of light there in the wrong goddamn place? There's one crack on the top one here. We're totally separated, and I tried to glue it back together and oh hell no. And then yeah, I slapped glue around here as the other side has a crack going from the top kind of down at an angle down to here, but most of it's to the inside. We're just full on leprosy. You can see on these where they got this like a finger on them. Anyways, the top ones, they got that, but they don't hit anything for a stopping point, but the bottom ones do, to keep this from going up any further. Anyways, I think from just that, the spring, whatever, just all they've done is create weak points. As you can see, that one's getting ready to snap off. The other one sailed south for the winter or whatever. But at least I can show you guys. Maybe. There. That little sliver of plastic there on the inside. That's the stopping point that it hits. Not the thickest, but so far those don't look like they're going to snap off. It's just that little hook thing or whatever. And then on top, say one side is totally snapping off. The other side here, starting right about there and just cracking straight over to where the pin goes through. So it's ready to snap off. Which that, I tried putting a brace on it with some glue, which I can push on it, and I don't see the crack getting any worse, but I did a little bit too late. But that's what I'm thinking of doing, is for the insides here, get some thin but heavy duty plastic and just cut it to the same shape or similar or whatever, and just put on some reinforcement there to try and thicken it up so it's got more than just the main plastic having all that force pushed against it. Also, See, I gunked up around some of the rivets here. Plastic area where the rivets go through was starting to crack too. That, as soon as I got enough glue on there and it dried up, no more problems. That kept it from getting any worse. Now on this part, being I haven't gotten that many people watching the last video anyways, some people were saying they were getting cracks around in this area where it hinges on. Nothing for me. It's all back here. So I think it depends on how long you've used it, how you use it, whatever. Which on this thing, I think it's a lot on how you use it. There's definitely a learning curve where you got to get used to the amount of time that you have the disc in there spinning, and how much stuff you want to use, and how much sanding you want to do and whatnot. Because the more you do, the more tension you're putting on this, and the more you're heating things up too. To where you got just tension from it going up and down, you got vibration from this spinning, and then the platform that your pad goes on inside the machine spinning at high RPM. So I'm sure heat doesn't do much for it either, which I'm pretty sure that was one of the problems why this is now metal. So if you have one that's plastic, you're going to get one like this where this is all metal. I have a feeling maybe it was warping or something, because it does get pretty hot, especially if you've been sanding a disc. Which, as far as I'm concerned, take your time with it. Just do a little bit at a time and check it. And if it doesn't look good still, a little bit longer. Don't just get carried away and figure, oh, I'm going to do it for the full amount of time because I'm in a rush and just do it all at once. That's probably why people were having their CDs either warp or melt or whatever, man, because the longer it's spinning on there with that friction, the hotter it's going to get. But I found just doing a little bit at a time and then allowing it to cool down, and just check everything out and then do a little bit more until it looks good. Let's do it that way. It's better just taking your time with it than trying to get it done fast. I think that's some of the problem with this, man. Trying to get it done fast and having it go on that full amount of time, it's too much for it. Now on GameCube, I do not have the GameCube adapter. I thought of getting it, but I don't know yet. They picked that up later on. Everything's got to be ordered from their site, so same as that. You got to order the GameCube attachment from their site, and I think, I may be wrong on that, I think you have to get special pads for the GameCube too. Or maybe you can use the regular ones, I don't know. Because it's going to eat down that pad, and being that for a GameCube, this is going to be a bit smaller, so it's going to be a smaller area on the pad that gets eaten down. So maybe it's just have one or so pads specifically for GameCube, and then everything else for standard size CDs. So once I come up with something, so I also thought of filling in all this area too on both of them, or maybe making some kind of a cross brace just to make that stronger. But I want to just think it out good before I just start working on it, so I know the plan's going to work or whatever, and not just mess it up. Because they're still $40 a piece. I don't like wasting money, so I want to come up with a good plan before I do anything to it. When it comes to warranty, I already know it's going to eventually break, so I can give a rat's ass about warranty. Some of you, I can't remember what the warranty is on this. I don't know how they do it, but like I say, depending on how many discs you're going to do, it's just inevitable, or it's eventually going to break. So just figure that you're going to get a lot of games done and you're going to pay for it that way. It's going to be one of those things, just like buying printer ink. Figure this is a very large printer ink cartridge. Printers will fuck you really freaking hard. Depends on the brand. Some cartridges are larger than others, so it might take more lube, but they fuck you with the printer. Since I just bought printer ink because Goddamn printer ink costs more than the freaking printers now. So figure it's that, man. You're replacing it like printer ink. So at least you can replace this. It would suck if they sold this thing to where you couldn't replace anything. That would suck. I would definitely be pissed off if I couldn't get replacement parts. And I think on the kit, I think all you get if you just get the kit with just a couple parts, I think it's just the swing arms and the pins. Where they figure it's just the swing arms that break. So they know that there's parts that are going to break. Obviously. Or they want to have replacement stuff. So, you got me. Otherwise, show you a new one here. Let's see, man. It's a big spring. Like I say, that's the first thing I want to do is get that there to where it's thickened up so it can handle that constant smacking of that little pin hitting it or whatever. In fact, check something. Compare the two just in case they made a slight little change. Okay. Either the sativa's kicking in or I'm tripping balls and something else. I swear the new one looks thicker. God damn, I swear that looks thicker. I wonder if they did thicken it up. Maybe they freaking figured it out. I don't know. Yeah, when I'm comparing it to the one that hasn't snapped off yet, it definitely looks like it's a little bit thicker. Holy shit, I think they did make it thicker. Yeah, just a little bit. Definitely tell on top. Okay, this video is going to be a little long. I want to see if I can scrape away a little bit of this glue here. Because right where the pins go through here, they did make those sides thicker than the rest of it. God damn, if the new one doesn't look like it is a little thicker. If it is, it's not much thicker, but maybe it's enough to where they solved the problem. Check my other one, just in case it's just fucking with me. I don't know how they do the molds on these. I don't know if they're outright molded, or if they're doing them with a 3D printer, or what. I don't think it's my eyes messing with me, man. Looks like they might have made just a slight improvement. Fucking A, man. I think I'm right. Yeah. Okay. I'm still gonna freaking bulk them up some. But yeah, they definitely look like they're a little thicker. if I can spot anything else that looks different. Okay, so far everything else looks the same. See if that stops right where the other one cracked. Okay, that cracked just a little bit ahead. Yeah, and where mine cracked on the original, it's right where it starts getting a bend there. So yeah, I'd say about the length of my fingernail going from here back is where they thickened it up, and then it thins out the rest of the way. Where they could have made that a little bit thicker, because that's definitely a weak point. So yeah, I may not have to do as much. That's thick enough, it should be strong enough to where it won't snap off. They've thickened it up enough to where it should do better. Otherwise, I say, man, not going to just jump on it and just do something off the top of my head, man. I want to work out a good plan before I start doing any alterations to it, because once you get started, that's it. You can't just go back, especially when you're dealing with glue. Let's see on the bottom here. Okay. Maybe they're going with customer complaints, and maybe most of the customers were saying that those were the areas that were broken, because they haven't thickened up the area where it's riveted onto this, so I will definitely thicken up those areas. Otherwise, cool. At least they've done something, man. They're learning. It's scary. Yeah. Learning's scary because you learn shit. So, finally getting some cool weather. I don't know how long it's going to last, so I'm getting incentive to want to do stuff, but not quite. Still trying to get past that bad heat to where it gave me that heat intolerance again, to where I just can't deal with the heat at all on going outside, man. When I go out, it's basically jump in the car, go where I need to go, get the fuck home fast. I can't be walking around in it much, man. Which I already have bad photophobia, and the heat just makes it worse, so. Finally getting it down to the 90s and less in the daytime here, so we'll see how long that lasts as we're getting all our monsoons hitting. Or it's just one big storm that's going through, so I don't know if it's going to get back into the hundreds again or not, man. Our weather's been weird as all hell here, so. I don't just have that to mess with, I also have that laser displayer that I want to mess with, so I may start on that first and just hold back on this. As right now I'm pretty good on any games in my personal collection that I need to have done, which, again, man, for anybody that didn't watch that last video, man, if anything, I had a nice stack of Sega CD games, and that all came from my friend that owned the video game store, and he'd gone out of business, so he was just trying to sell this, that, and the other, and he knew I'd want this stuff, so he just sold me the whole box full of them for cheap, but a lot of them were really messed up bad, and I was able to get all but one of them working like new with this thing, so it upped my Sega CD collection, so right there made it worth buying this thing. And say, man, I got a lot of other games that I couldn't play either. Some of them PlayStation, to where now I can play them. So cool. Otherwise, maybe a little bit before I mess with this. Otherwise, I'm glad I spotted that. I'm glad I decided to redo the video because I thought nothing of it. Yeah, really eyeballing it, it's not much, but just enough to where you can tell that they were thinking about something that might break and maybe we should reinforce this. It literally looks like they redid the mold. You can see that they added on just another layer about as thick of what I would have added on with some plastic. So if I add on some plastic, it's going to make it even thicker, so that much better. So cool. Alright, I've talked enough shit in this vid. Otherwise, man, I can't rip on them too much. Because it's just, it's the way it's built, man. If you want a machine that's going to last, to where you can just boom, 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 boom on getting them done, you're going to be spending a lot more money than just a few hundred on this, man. This is just one of those machines to where, yeah, if you have it for a business, you're going to be replacing that part a lot. But if it's for home, unless you're like me and have just a couple of games laying around, then yeah, it may end up breaking or whatever, or it may last you a long freaking time if you're not using it much. So I still recommend it for what it does. Okay, now go bye, late.